Shalom in the name of Yeshua, the Messiah. Now, this is a video really for those so-called black people who are either Muslims already or who are, considering becoming Muslims or considering even just thinking about Islam. Now, I remember back in the day when I was at uni that Muslims would speak to me and they'd say, look, Islam is the religion of the black man, because Christianity was the religion of the slave owners, and Christianity is the religion of the colonialists and the people who have oppressed, your people, the blacks, the Africans. Christianity is the tool of these people. So, Christianity is a racist religion. It's the white man's religion. You don't want to be Christian, but Islam is the religion of the black man. And there's quite a few videos on YouTube that are making this point, and here's one of them. It's called Malcolm X, Islam, the Solution to Racism. And these people will often point to Malcolm X as an example, as a role model for black people to look up to and to copy and to become a Muslim, just like Malcolm X was a Muslim. But I think it's important that we look at some facts concerning Muhammad and concerning slavery and concerning black slaves when we're considering whether Islam is the religion of the black man. Now, the first thing I'd like to point out, now I'm going to put all the references to all of these texts, all of these Islamic texts, into the video description with the hyperlinks as well, so you can check them out for yourself. The first thing I'd like to point out, remember we're talking about Islam, Christianity, slavery, and the black man. First thing I'd like to point out is the Prophet Muhammad himself owned black slaves. We find this in Sahih Bukhari, the most authentic of hadith in Islam, Sunni Islam. It says, Allah's apostle was on a journey and he had a black slave called Anjasha. So that just confirms that Muhammad owned black slaves, a black slave, at least one. He owned more, as we see in this statement from Sahih Muslim, the second most authoritative hadith in Sunni Islam. It says, there came a slave and pledged allegiance to Allah's apostle. On migration, he, that's Muhammad, did not know that he was a slave. Then there came his master and demanded him back, whereas Allah's apostle said, sell him to me. And he bought him for 2 black slaves. So we learn from this that Muhammad bought and sold slaves, and he bought and sold black slaves, and in this case, interestingly, he buys 1 slave for 2 black slaves. What does that tell you about the value that he appeared to place on black slaves as opposed to Arab slaves or white slaves? Now, what about the treatment of slaves? What did Muhammad teach concerning how a Muslim could treat his slaves? Well, let's have a look. First of all, we're going to go to a Tafsir al-Jalalain, which is a commentary on the Quran, and it says, this is a commentary on chapter 4 verse 24 of the Quran. It says, forbidden to you are wedded women, those with spouses, that you should marry them before they have left their spouses, be they Muslim, free women or not. So that's saying that the teaching that a man cannot have sex with a woman who is married if she's free, whether she's Muslim or not, until they've left their husband. However, it says, save, i.e. accept, what your right hands own of captured girls, slave girls, whom you may have sexual intercourse with, even if they should have spouses among the enemy camp, but only after they have been absolved of the possibility of pregnancy. That is what God has prescribed for you. So see, concerning slave girls, a Muslim man can have sex with a slave girl, even if that slave girl, that woman, is married and their husband is in the enemy camp. That sounds like adultery to me. Going back to the hadith, this is in Sahih Muslim. We're going to read this report. It said, someone's reporting this thing. It says, we went out with Allah's messenger on the expedition to the Bil Mustalik and took captive some excellent Arab women, and we desired them, for we were suffering from the absence of our wives. But at the same time we also desired ransom for them. So you see their predicament here. These guys, they've gone out with Muhammad on one of their expeditions, their wars, and they're sexually frustrated. They want to have sex. They've got these women who they've captured, but they also want to sell these women, and they know that if they were to have sex with them, and they could become pregnant, and then the value of these women, they'd be almost worthless, because or they'll be the value of them would go down because they're with child. They'll be with child. So what did they do? It says, we decided to have sexual intercourse with them, but by observing azl. Now, forgive me for being graphic here, but I'm just reading it. It says, azl, the description is withdrawing the male sexual organ before emission of semen to avoid contraception. So they're having sex with them, but not sowing the seed, so that they can sell them afterwards. But we said, we are doing an act, whereas Allah's messenger is amongst us. Why not ask him? So this is a great time for Muhammad to say, look, this is wrong, stop doing this. But what does he say? We asked Allah's messenger, and he said, it does not matter if you do not do it, for every soul that is to be born up to the day of resurrection will be born. So Muhammad basically tells them, look, even if you don't do that, it doesn't really matter. You can sow the seed or not sow the seed. Basically, have sex with these women, doesn't matter. Even if they're married already, even if these guys are married, even if these guys are planning to sell these women, it's not like they're planning to marry them. They're having sex with them because just to ease their sexual frustration, and then they're going to sell them afterwards. And Muhammad says it's okay. So what's been the point of this video? Well, in this video we've seen that Muhammad owned black slaves, and no doubt his companions owned black slaves also. We've seen that Muhammad sold apparently considered black slaves to be of less value than non-black slaves. We've seen that Muhammad also taught that it's okay for men to have sex with their slave women, even if those slave women are already married and their husbands are still alive. And we also see that that these earliest Muslims would keep slave women, have sex with these slave women to relieve their frustration, and would go on to sell these women. So they had no intention of marrying these women and starting a family with these women. And my point really is that this, to me, does not sound like a religion for the black man. Feedback will be greatly appreciated, and let's discuss this. Shalom.